In this video, I'm going to show you why your agency ads aren't converting and the exact fix I used to close over 200 clients and pull in over $2 million for my own agency exclusively with paid ads. Now, most agency owners blame ads or their market when their ads aren't working, but in reality, it comes down to neither of those. It's going to be one of the following mistakes that I'm going to reveal to you in this video. And by the end of the video, you're going to know exactly what they are and how to fix them so your ads start scaling profitably and signing you 5, 10, 20 clients a month. So let's get into it. So the first one, and I know this is you, if you are using lead forms right now on Meta, you're just cooked, my friend. Now, if you don't know what lead forms are, basically that's where someone clicks on your ad and without leaving Meta, there's a form that drops down, which is, like name, email, phone number, and obviously you can customize the text. But when this submits, the conversion action fires. And so you're optimizing towards this, okay, which is not ideal because Meta is optimizing towards people that will give you their information. We want booked sales calls. Now, if you're not an agency owner who closes deals over sales calls, then this whole video and channel is not for you. But if you are an agency owner that gets on the phone over Google Meet and, you're closing deals that are sort of 2K to 5K a month or even more, maybe 10K a month if you're lucky, we want to optimize towards those booked calls. Okay, the way we do this is we do not use lead forms. Now, Meta is going to try and get you to use lead forms. It's going to say lead forms will drop your CPA. Use lead forms in addition to your website. It's going to pull all these tricks on you. But if we use lead forms, Meta, it has to optimize towards the people that fill in the form, which is not ideal. As I said, we want to optimize towards the people that actually book the meeting, okay? Because that is further down the sequence of intent to buy your service, whether it's SEO, PPC, or whatever. And so we really want to use the schedule standard event within Meta. We want to optimize towards that. I work with dozens of agency clients selling to e-com, local business. We all use the schedule event, okay? So every time we run an ad, okay, we send it to a funnel. I recommend 99.9% of you run VSL funnels, okay, because they just work and they're the most simple, right? Don't try and do all this cute low ticket product shit and lead magnets. Oh, a lead magnet will not work better than a VSL funnel. I absolutely promise you that, okay? And so we want a headline, we want a subheading, we want a VSL, okay? The VSL is optional. We actually can just have an application form here without the VSL. That still works really well. But for most of you, I would say having a VSL in there is good. And then we're going to have the application embedded on the page, and then we're going to have proof, and then we're going to have FAQs, okay? And then the prospect has to fill in the application, and then, and only then, once they fill out the application, they book a call. So there may be a separate page here to book a call, or it may be embedded into the application, depending on what you're using. So this is going to be the book page. And only then, once they booked a call and they go to the thank you page, when they hit the thank you page, that, my friends, is when the schedule event fires, okay? So if you're using lead forms, I promise you, you will get better results if you optimize towards website schedules as your main conversion event. Now, issue number 2 I see is pretty just wrong messaging, okay? You're just not nailing the messaging in the ads, which I know sounds like super basic, but I genuinely think this is where most of you are going wrong. Like, you need to make sure that you're using the language of your ICP. So like if you're targeting e-com brands, for example, you're using the words that they use, ROAS, CPA, right? That's gonna make an e-com brand owner lean in and actually listen to your ad. You actually need to make your product, like your service, actually sound like just a very simple done for you agency service instead of some like kind of software or coaching program. Like I see a lot of agency owners trying to overcomplicate things. Do not overcomplicate things. Simply just use the language that your prospects use and make them a very clear offer. Again, like I see so many agency owners, they're doing really kind of like top of funnel messaging where they're educating their buyer, which is great, but they're not actually emphasizing the offer and just making a clear direct offer. Like if you use the language of your prospect, you make a direct offer to them, there's a certain percentage of people that will just take that and buy. Like it kind of is that simple. Do not overcomplicate your messaging and prioritize running direct offer ads, okay? Because if you think about the market, this is the market, the percentage of the market that's ready to buy right now. It's maybe like 2%. We want to completely just convert as much of that as possible because that's the easiest, okay? We want to do what is easy first before going and scaling up into doing harder things. So this is easy. And so we want to make these direct offer ads because this percentage of the market here is ready to buy. So when they see that ad, they're going to take action. Once we sort of start to hit a ceiling with our spend, we need to go up the funnel in terms of our messaging. So then we need to go from sort of bottom of funnel messaging, basically like, hey, here's my offer to you, buy now, to slightly more higher level messaging. Okay, I've talked about this in other videos, so I won't go too deep on it here, but most of you are just not actually making direct offers in your ads, and that is costing you. Now, the other mistake I see is an extremely small TAM. The way Meta works is it works better if you have a pretty broad audience with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in that audience. And like, that's why we use broad targeting in the first place. If you've got an audience size of like 10K people, it's going to be just really hard to make this work. Like, your CPMs are going to be through the roof because it's such a small audience and it's so competitive. It's just going to be tough to make ads work, right? Don't artificially restrict yourself. One of my clients is in the UK, right? And so they're only running ads in the UK. And then not only that, they're running ads to e-com brands, but not all e-com brands in the UK. They were only running to supplement brands. So people who sell, vitamins and shit. That's tough because it's UK supplement brands who are like looking for a very specific service. Like, that's probably only like 10K people realistically, who are also at a decent enough revenue level. Because then also we're qualifying based on revenue on the form and in the website. So revenue's also got to be, I think, like 50K a month plus. So it's like supplement brands in the UK that are in need of an agency that are also doing 50K a month plus. Like, there's zero way that there's more than like 10K people of those. If we just remove this, which is the supplement part, which is what I told them to do, suddenly that jumps from 10K to probably about 100K. We easily 10x that audience, if not more, maybe 20x it, because now we're targeting all the e-com brands in the UK with a very broad audience. And that instantly is going to shoot down your CPMs. It's going to lead to more clicks, more people taking the application, and more people buying, okay? So you need to get a little bit broader when you run ads. I hope that makes sense. Now, the next mistake I see, and this is just one I see literally like all the time, is just getting absolutely effed by Meta's recommendations. So Meta is going to try and steal your money. I really want to emphasize this. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Meta. They've made me a lot of money, but they are really going to try and take your cash, okay? And the way they do this is by auto-applying recommendations. So here are some off the top of my head. Firstly, they try and force you into running CBOs. I actually don't think CBOs are great for most of you watching this, most of you trying to test and get to sort of your first $1,000 a day of spend, because you can't effectively test creative in a CBO. Meta's just going to choose what to spend on it. And so I much prefer ABO, but it's going to try and force you to use a CBO. Even when you select ABO, they're going to have a little setting which is like, 5% of the spend is going to pass between your ad sets. So sort of acting like a CBO. So again, you got to turn that off. And then when we get to the ad set level, oh my God, it's recommending you do instant forms again. I think the default is website and instant forms, which is just crazy. Basically forcing you into targeting every single age and gender. For me, I'll use myself as an example. Most people that join my consultancy, the advertising co, who are trying to scale their agency with paid ads, are men. It's just kind of how it goes. And so a lot of spend that goes to women in my ad account is wasted. And so I just turn that off. But Meta is really like reluctant to allow you to do that. So that's another thing you got to watch out for. Go ahead and audit your last 20 customers. And frankly, if there are customers that do not fit into certain age ranges, like 65 plus, exclude it. It's going to be a waste of money for you. And then finally, I would say there's also the biggest one, which I see all the time, which is placements. Okay. Meta auto applies full placement targeting. So that's ads on Facebook, that's ads on IG, that's ads on Threads, which just isn't really a validated place to run ads yet. That's ads on the audience network, which is god awful. I mean, it's just terrible traffic. If you allow this into your campaigns, it will ruin your results because it will give you completely messed up data. It will tell you your CTRs are like way higher than they actually are. It'll tell you you've got like a 8% CTR when you actually have a 0.5% CTR. It's going to tell you your CPCs are way lower than they are. It's going to look like you've got a 2.20 CPC, which is like, oh my God, amazing. Meta's crushing it. But in actuality, on Meta and IG, which are, in my opinion, the only two placements you should have on, where the valuable traffic is, your CPC is going to be like $10, right? So this is just another one I see all the time. And then I think the last one is pretty much just creative enhancements. I still to this day turn all creative enhancements off. Okay. I've actually taken a more extreme position on this recently. Like, whenever I see my ads in the wild when I'm using these, they just never look good. Meta's always ruined them somehow with some like weird message over the top, weird music, weird overlay. So I just want to know exactly how my ad's going to look. And so all this BS of like, enhancements improve results, I just don't buy it at all. So I absolutely turn enhancements off. Now, the next mistake is not reading your data accurately enough. You need to know everything, and you need to know it across specific rolling time periods. So you want to know across 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, and 90 days, the following metrics. You should know your CTR, you should know your CPM, the amount of page views you're getting per day or per these periods, and then you need to know the amount of applications you're getting. So many of you have really decent CTRs, like, or at least CTR that is not the bottleneck. Like, you're going to probably have like a 1 to 1.5% CTR. If you've got anything higher than a 2% CTR, you're killing it. And that's unique outbound CTR, by the way. But let's say you've got this kind of a CTR, that's okay. You know what I mean? It's not great. Like, I would like you to have a higher CTR, but you can still scale a freaking campaign with this. Like, so many of you, the ads aren't the bottleneck. Like, if you have this kind of a CTR and you have sort of like a 20% hook rate, right? And your CPMs and your CPC aren't like off the wall, but your ads still aren't working, it's almost always because your application rate, which is the amount of views that turn into applications, is too low. And so what does that mean? It can mean a few things. It could be an offer issue. It could be a headline issue on the page. It could be a VSL issue if your VSL sucks or people aren't watching it. Like, the VSL is what sells them to do an application. It could be that people don't trust your page. It could be that the page loads slowly or the application doesn't load in. It could be a bunch of different things. But just knowing that this is your bottleneck. Like, I bet if you look right now, you've probably, over the last 7 days, let's say you've got maybe 200 views on your page, but you've only had like 2 applications. And then you're like, oh, ads don't work. No. They're getting you these views. Okay. They're getting you qualified page views if you haven't messed any of the other stuff up. This, my friends, is the bottleneck. It's this drop off here. This is a 1% application rate. You really need like a 5 to 6% application rate to allow this to flow through in the way that we want it to. And so you need to start looking at this stuff, which is not actually inside your ad account. So immediately, your thought process is, ads don't work. Turn them off, right? So you really need to read your information. And then, of course, from application, how many of those people book a call? So that's another common bottleneck. And the issue here is maybe things like different issues like calendar availability. Okay. Maybe you're so freaking chock-a-block with sales calls because you're taking them all yourself that there's like 2 slots on any given day available. Like, that's going to nuke this throughput here. So you might have a low amount of people who actually finish the application. That's a problem. Okay, this is also where you need setters to come in. So it's probably like a setter issue as well. If people apply and they don't book, like, your setter should, as soon as you get that lead data in, your setter should be blowing up their phone sub 5 minutes. And then once we sort of get past the booking, then we go into sort of show rate and close rate and stuff like that, which you should also know, but that's kind of a video for another day. That's more sales related. Here, we're just talking about marketing. I do dozens of consulting calls every single week with my clients and other agency owners. And I always ask them for these kinds of numbers and they just don't know them. So, if this is you, then you need to know your numbers. And then finally, number 6, one that I will leave you with, is just not being patient enough. You need to be so patient with Facebook ads. So many of you will turn off campaigns that could be good because there's like 2 or 3 days of poor performance. You just need to leave that stuff on. And I know it hurts, but unfortunately the crack of it is, like, that's why you've got to have decent cash flow to be able to play this game. You can definitely get started with $50 to $100 a day and see some initial calls, but if you can't maintain that, if you can't sink, $3,000 a month into your marketing for multiple months and really be ready to, let some ad sets ride out and properly test them, and I'll give you some numbers as to what that looks like in a moment, then just don't get involved. I tend to say you've got to be doing sort of 10 to 20, sort of like 15 to 20K a month profit really to do this properly. And that's just kind of the way of it. Anyway, what this looks like is every time I launch a new ad set, I want to give it, and by the way, I batch. So when I film a batch of ads, that's an ad set. I'll launch a new batch of creatives in an ad set, and I'm going to wait 5 to 7 days or even doing anything and touching anything. Then I'm checking, okay, have we had 100 unique clicks, which if you're spending a decent amount, you should. If you're not spending a decent amount, then you need to wait longer. But let's make sure we've had 100 unique clicks because this is like a significant test size. And then we're going to just look at the data, right? We're going to review all of this. And we're going to see, okay, is it the ad that's the problem here if we get to this point and we're not seeing the results that we want, or is it something else in the process? If our application rate looks okay and it really is just the fact that the CTR and the hook rate and stuff like that is too low, or we seem to suspect that, the application quality isn't where it needs to be, the applications coming through are not qualified, then we need to clearly change something in the messaging and the language of the ads. So in that point, we would look at launching a new batch and pausing the old one. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've talk to agencies and they're like, oh, I want to turn my ads off. I want to turn them off. Like, they suck. And like, performance is down here, or like performance was up here, sorry. And then it goes down for a few days and you're like, oh, I want to kill it. And then it goes back up. If you haven't had like, I don't know, 50 to 100 results in your pixel, i.e. you haven't booked 50 to 100 sales calls, like, Meta really doesn't know who you're really going after. So when you launch a fresh account with ads, it can be rough because you're just subject to this really like inconsistent performance. All right. In my account for Paid House Now, my agency, it's so consistent. It's just very, very, very consistent. It's consistent multiple sales calls booked per day because we've been running ads for so long and we have so many website schedules in place. So yeah, look, I could probably go on and keep talking about this all day, but I genuinely think these are the 6 biggest mistakes, okay? Make sure you don't use lead forms, use a proper funnel. Make sure you're not absolutely using the wrong messaging for your niche and you're actually making a direct offer to the right segment of the market that's ready to buy, and you're moving up the funnel as you want to scale. Make sure you've got a big enough TAM and you can go as broad within your industry as you reasonably can. Make sure you do not use Meta's stupid recommendations. Make sure you look at your data religiously and make sure you are being patient enough. Okay. And if you do all of those 6 things, I can promise you, you will be able to sign 5, 10, 20 clients a month, if not a week, with this system. Okay. Ads is the only thing that can allow you to do that. Now, you are an agency owner watching this. You have 2 options. Option A is you can figure all this stuff out yourself. And if that's you, then I recommend you go and watch all of my content on this channel so that I can help you do that. But option B, if you just want to shortcut this and learn exactly the mistakes that I made and just get certainty and the speed as well to get ads working, then you can book a call using the first link in the description. It's with me. There's no sales team for this offer. Okay, this is a high touch one-to-one consulting offer, and I will literally walk you through everything you need to be successful with paid ads to the point where you're signing dozens of clients a month. It's as simple as that. Okay, this stuff works. It's not a question of whether ads work or not. It's a question of how well do they work. Okay. And so if you are running ads right now as well and you're not seeing the results that you want to, I would also recommend that you book that call. But without further ado, I appreciate you watching this. See you in the next one.